Hello everybody, I'm here to give a review of the IK74 from ICS, which is, as we know, is the AK74 from the Taiwanese company ICS. Why am I making this video? Well, I've had this gun for 3 years and I've not really seen much on the internet about reviews about this gun. So I thought I'd make something for you guys, for you airsofters out there. So as I said, I've had it for 3 years. It had moderate use. Essentially, I've played times when it's been every week to every other week for, let's say, 3 to 6 months, and then I would have maybe a 3 to 6 month break where I'd play a couple of games and then I would go back and play again. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of this. As I said, I've had this for 3 years. I've experienced upgrades, failures. I've had to fix it a few times, and I would like to give you guys an idea of what I think it's good and bad at. So it comes with a 3000 motor, something 3000, I'm not too sure exactly, but what I can say is that the motor that sits in there is very sturdy and powerful. I never had any problems. When I change weight of BBs, when I change battery strengths, when I change from full auto to semi-auto, when the battery's been low or high energy, I've never had any problems. That I could say is pretty good. It's the only stock AK that I've seen that has a rail that goes, essentially there is a gap there, but it's essentially all the way back here, and that I really like. I really like when I take off, for example, the scope, and to be able to look down the gun like this. It's just so pleasing to have a rail all the way along an AK. So I really do love that. It has got side rails and a bottom rail, which I do make use of. The bottom and the top more than the sides. But I have played in dark underground sites, essentially, where you need a torch, and I've either attached the torch here or I've put the torch there. Another pro is that it's an overall good construction. For 3 years there's really not much wobbling. There is 2 pins here, or screws, that essentially hold the front or the upper front to the lower receiver. That I can say I wish it was a bit sturdier. There is at times some wobble between the two. Also, because of the fact that this rail goes at the back here, you do generally tend to see that wobble come down to these pins. So that I would say would have been better, could have been better. But because of that, it is very easy to disassemble. It's incredibly easy. Take out these screws, unscrew the rail system, which just pops off, and there's a link here which you detach, and the whole thing comes apart, which enables you to get to the barrel, get to the hop-up. It's very simple. The cons, the hop-up has been a major problem for me. ICS's official, you could say, hop-up, I can't really see it here, their official hop-up units are made of plastic, and very cheap plastic. I've had numerous hop-ups, and some of you might be asking, well, why don't you just change to a metal? Well, I've tried that. I've tried that twice. I'm sure that there are more. I think there are maybe 3 other companies I could try and get a hop-up, metal hop-up that would fit this. But there is a slight problem with that, in that the nozzle that feeds its way here. Oh, there's actually a BB in the chamber, but the this area here, which feeds into the magazine, is longer on the ICS than it is on most other AK platforms, which make it pretty hard to upgrade the hop-up. Out the box, it was good, really enjoyed it. It worked fine until the plastic failed and it exploded. So that is the only thing that I will continually have to upgrade, to replace with this gun is the hop-up unit. That's unfortunate. I hope one day I'll find someone who'll be able to weld me a longer feeding nozzle here from the hop unit into the magazines. Until then, it will have to remain like that. So one thing I would say to ICS is sort it out. Make a higher quality plastic one, or better still, produce a metal one that fits your guns. Another con I would say is that they took the the AK74 platform, which had the imitation wood, and they've only gone and sprayed the handle black. Not good, not in my books. That is not on. If they're going to do it, then I could recommend they do it a few more times, because as you can see, after 3 years, it's starting to look cheap and naff. But it's just an exterior effect. A lot can be said for the interior of this gun stock, which I have been pleased with. But anyway, talking about stock, this stock, first thing I was advised by a site owner, a very good site owner at Tech Brigade in the UK. It was recommended to me, never hold the gun here and walk around with it, because the stocks are pretty cheap and yeah, it can break. It would have been nice if this was a little thicker quality, thicker plastic, a higher quality. I have never had a problem in 3 years. So it's just, it sounds cheap, it looks cheap. Oh, there's pellets flying out. Sounds cheap and it looks cheap, and yeah, I wish that was better quality as well. But as I said, never had any problems. It would be something I would think about replacing in the future. The fire selector, it works, never had a problem at all, but it does feel cheap. It doesn't really feel like it's engaging. You know, you want a fire selector to click nicely, and it has worn down, as you could see here, but that's not where it should be engaging. It should be engaging within the fire selector plate, within the internals between the gearbox and the actual fire selector unit. So that's another con, but as I said, never really given me any problems. I've learned how to use it and I've learned how to work with it. Out the box, 3 years ago, I was extremely happy with this gun. 1.5 years in, everything was still working fine until the hop got destroyed, until the hop failed. I have done some upgrading with this gun, quite a lot of upgrading. Well, maybe not quite a lot, but I've done some upgrading. The upgrades are a tight bore barrel on the inside, new 16-1 gears from SHS, so I've got new gears in there with shims. It's been shimmed. M120 spring, so it's got a lot more kick now, and that's where I would say that the motor's really great stock. It's got a high capacity. That's something I didn't mention. I changed the spring and was considering whether the motor would really be up for the job, but it really was. What else have I changed? I've got a polymer piston from Dream Army and a piston head that's been changed in the gearbox. The cabling has all been redone. After 3 years, the connectors and the cabling were knackered. I have been running higher capacity batteries, so I think that's got something to do with it. but I've also changed to Dean's connectors, and I haven't quite switched over to LiPo, but I am intending to. I also have got a MOSFET which will be installed soon, but it hasn't been installed yet. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope for those of you who are looking to buy new or second-hand an ICS AK, yeah, it's worked for me. I wouldn't say it's the best, I wouldn't say it's the worst, but I've been pretty happy with it. I'm gonna let you guys hear it so you hear what it sounds like now with all the upgrades. It's got a nice little, I think it will sound much better once I've got the MOSFET installed. There'll be a much cleaner connection between each fire of the pellet. But quite happy. I often run it with a scope of a sort, and I've got this. It is pretty chunky, this grip, but I do like it. It's quite a long gun. I'm not really the biggest of guys, so it's nice to have an addition of a bipod if I need to. I usually run it with a silencer. Confuses the enemies a little bit in terms of exactly where you are. And something I would like to mention, the stock magazines for this gun really are not good. If you can, try and get an upgrade. I've gone for these here, which are these quick loading ones, so you pull these cables down, and that's worked great for me. Compatibility wise, I do believe it is a straight Marui, Tokyo Marui compatible magazine. So yeah, that was my little review. I hope it's helped, and happy airsofting.